In the heart of Hong Kong's teeming streets, where neon lights clashed with the shadows of narrow alleys, a young boy named Hung Cambo navigated a world alive with chaos and promise. Born in 1952 to parents steeped in the film industry's wardrobe craft, he was raised by grandparents whose names carried weight in cinema's golden age. His grandmother, a martial arts actress with fire in her eyes, and his grandfather, a director who wove stories that captivated thousands, planted seeds of destiny in him. At 9, he stepped into the China Drama Academy, a place where discipline was as brutal as the training itself. There, under the stage name Yuan Lang, he joined the Seven Little Fortunes, a troupe of young performers destined for greatness. Among them was a wiry, ambitious kid named Jackie Chan, whose rivalry with Hung sparked a fire that would burn through decades. Together, they tumbled, fought, and dreamed, their youthful energy shaping the future of martial arts on screen. Across the city, another boy, Lee Junfan, born in San Francisco in 1940, carried a different kind of fire. Named Bruce by a nurse at birth, he was swept back to Hong Kong at 4 months old into a world gripped by war's shadow. His parents, an opera singer and a woman of mixed Cantonese and English roots, faced their own battles, leaving young Bruce to find his way amid the Japanese occupation's turmoil. By his first birthday, he had already appeared in a film, earning the nickname Little Dragon for the spark in his gaze. The streets of Hong Kong, unforgiving and raw, became his crucible. Fights with local toughs honed his instincts, but his parents saw trouble brewing. To channel his restless spirit, they introduced him to Wing Chun, a decision that would echo across the world. Under a reluctant master who hesitated because of Bruce's mixed heritage, he found his calling, each strike and block forging a legend in the making. Hung's early years were no less turbulent. At 14, a stunt gone wrong left him bedridden, his body battered, and his confidence shaken. The agility he prided himself on slipped away, replaced by weight gain and doubt. Yet, inspired by a cartoon character's resilience, he rechristened himself Sammo and clawed his way back into the industry. As a stuntman, he threw himself into every fall, every punch, earning scars and respect in equal measure. By the late 1960s, he was no longer just a performer, but a force behind the scenes, choreographing fights that pulsed with life. His big break came in 1973 on the set of a film that would redefine cinema, Enter the Dragon. There, he crossed paths with Bruce Lee, the man whose name was already a whisper on every filmmaker's lips. Bruce, by then, had traveled a winding road. Sent to America in 1959 to escape Hong Kong's violence, he landed in Seattle with little more than determination. Working above a restaurant, he scraped by teaching martial arts to friends, not for fame but survival. His first school, the Lijian Fonggang Fu Institute, drew students hungry for his knowledge. At the University of Washington, he studied drama and philosophy, but the classroom felt like a cage. By 1964, he dropped out, moving to Oakland to open a new school with a fellow martial artist. His explosive performance at the Long Beach International Karate Championships, with a 1-inch punch that left jaws on the floor, marked him as a phenomenon. Yet not all battles were public. A private duel with a traditionalist, sparked by Bruce's defiance in teaching non-Chinese students, pushed him to rethink everything. From that clash, Jeet Kune Do was born, a philosophy of freedom, speed, and adaptability that broke every rule. On the set of Enter the Dragon, Sammo watched Bruce move like lightning, each kick a poem, each glance a story. They shared a moment that would linger in Hung's memory. One evening, between takes, Sammo, ever curious, approached Bruce. "Are you really as fast as they say?" he asked, half joking. Bruce's eyes glinted. Without a word, he stepped back and, before Sammo could blink, a kick stopped an inch from his face, the air whistling with its speed. Sammo laughed, stunned, and Bruce grinned. A rare moment of camaraderie in a world of relentless ambition. They spoke little after that, their paths diverging as Bruce's star soared and Sammo carved his own. The 1970s were a golden era for both. Bruce returned to Hong Kong in 1971, disillusioned by Hollywood's limits. Films like The Big Boss and Fist of Fury shattered records, his every move a rebellion against convention. He founded his own production company, taking control of his vision. The Way of the Dragon, with its iconic Coliseum fight against Chuck Norris, made him a global icon. Sammo, meanwhile, rose as a stunt coordinator and action director, his work on Enter the Dragon cementing his reputation. By 1977, he directed The Iron-Fisted Monk, blending humor and martial arts in a way that felt fresh, alive. The Lucky Stars series followed, a whirlwind of comedy and action that made him, Jackie Chan, and Yuan Biao household names. Yet, beneath the success, Sammo felt the weight of expectation, the grind of an industry that demanded more with every film. Bruce's life, though, was cut short. In July 1973, just before Enter the Dragon hit theaters, he was gone, leaving behind a legacy and a half-finished dream, Game of Death. Sammo, tasked with choreographing reshoots for its 1978 release, grappled with the void Bruce left. Using a lookalike and scraps of footage, the film disappointed fans, but Sammo poured his heart into preserving what he could of Bruce's vision. Years later, in 2000, unseen footage surfaced, revealing Bruce's original intent. A pagoda of battles, each floor a test of skill. It was a glimpse of what might have been, and for Sammo, it stirred memories of a conversation long buried. By 2025, Sammo, now in his 70s, stood at a crossroads. Decades had passed since Bruce's death, yet his shadow loomed large. At a film festival, surrounded by fans and filmmakers, Sammo felt the weight of time. He had spent years honoring Bruce in silence. Through his own films, his choreography, his refusal to let the past fade. But something shifted. The world was hungry for stories of Bruce, for new chapters in his legend. Sammo decided it was time to share a truth he had kept close, not out of secrecy, but out of respect. In a quiet moment years ago, Bruce had confided in Sammo on the Enter the Dragon set. Not about fame or fights, but about a dream, a film that would break every boundary. He called it The Silent Storm, a story of a wanderer who used martial arts not just to fight, but to heal, to bridge cultures in a world torn apart. Bruce had sketched scenes on scraps of paper, his voice alive with passion as he described a climax where the hero faced his own fears. Not an enemy. In a dance of light and shadow. He wanted it to be his legacy, a film that spoke to the soul, not just the fists. But time ran out and the project never left those sketches. Sammo kept this quiet, unsure if the world was ready for a Bruce Lee who transcended the action hero. In 2025, with martial arts cinema resurging and new generations rediscovering Bruce, Sammo saw his chance. He shared the story at a festival panel, his voice steady but thick with emotion. Bruce wasn't just about fighting, he said, he wanted to show us how to live. The audience sat in silence, captivated by the vision of a film that never was, a testament to Bruce's unfulfilled ambition. Sammo's own journey mirrored that unfinished dream. Through the 1980s, he pushed boundaries with films like Winners and Sinners, blending grit and humor in a way that felt real. Personal struggles, weight, doubt, fractured relationships tested him, but he pressed on. The 1990s brought upheaval, a split with Golden Harvest. Yet, he reinvented himself, starring in martial law and captivating new audiences. Bruce's influence lingered in every punch Sammo threw, every story he told. Their paths, though brief, had intertwined in ways that shaped cinema's soul. The revelation of The Silent Storm wasn't just about a lost film. It was about Bruce's heart, a man who fought not just opponents, but the limits of his world. Sammo's choice to speak now wasn't for fame, but for legacy, to remind us that Bruce's fire still burned. As the festival crowd applauded, Sammo smiled, knowing he had honored his friend. The story of The Silent Storm spread, inspiring filmmakers to dream beyond the screen, just as Bruce had. Their lives, though different, were bound by a shared passion. Bruce, the little dragon, had lit a spark that Sammo carried forward through every stunt, every film, every fall. Hong Kong's streets, once their battleground, now echoed with their legacy. For those watching, the message was clear. Dream fiercely, fight for your vision, and never let the light fade. Thanks for joining us on this journey. Like, subscribe, and share to keep the stories alive.